Korean pop music has been a major global phenomenon in the 21st century. Artists such as Big Bang, BTS, EXO and SHINee are top charts around the world, creating a new standard for the worldwide music industry. But they've done more than just that. They've opened our eyes to culture. K-pop is acting as a catalyst to improve cultural appreciation in the 21st century.
Do you ever feel ashamed or afraid of telling people that you're into K-pop?
Definitely. Like going to university was like, oh, okay, because people. One of the first questions people always ask is, "What music do you like?" And it's like, do I say K-pop? Like I found myself quite a lot of people saying, "Don't worry, I'm not an obsessive fan, but I like K-pop." But I'm like trying to stop myself from doing that because like even if I do love it that much, like what's the problem? You know, not harming anyone. I'm not one of those crazy sasangs. So, you know, but yeah, it's awkward telling people, yeah.
I don't think I've been entirely ashamed of just saying I'm into K-pop because it's music, I guess. If you put it in that way, it's just music. So.
I'm Yamisi, I'm 18 years old and I am a avid K-pop fan.
Hello, my name is Jessie, aka Moonchi.
はじめまして。私はアリアドニです。よろしくお願いします。
I'm Catherine, I'm 24 years old. I'm an actress slash musical theatre performer. Currently not doing anything in the pandemic, and I am one half of Kath and Laura Explore. And I'm Laura, I'm 21. I write online, I'm an online writer and like video creator. And I'm the other half of Kath and Laura Explore.
Hi, I'm Zozo and I am a K-pop coverist on YouTube and I make English covers of K-pop songs.
Hi, my name's Elise, I'm 16 and I'm the leader of Ember.
Hi, my name's Tasha, I'm 17 and I don't really have a title but I'm part of Embers.
Please introduce yourselves. Hi, I'm Maurice.
Hi, I'm Jay, I'm 18 and I'm the youngest and the newest member in our group.
Hello, I'm Senyas Goji.
I'm Chan and I am from Thailand. I'm half Thai and half English.
Hi, I'm Roxana, I'm 23 years old and I am from Romania. I moved into the UK about 5 years ago and I think I'm gonna stay here for the rest of my life, who knows.
For Westerners, yes, definitely. I think back in the day, I was in a school where it was predominantly white people, and so they were very used to like Western songs, like from America or like One Direction and stuff like that. And I was the only person that was into K-pop or like Bollywood and J-rock, right? Like anime opening kind of music and stuff like that. I don't know what to call it.
Anime OSTs.
Anime OSTs, yes. Like that kind of music. Like I was really into it. It's nice to get people to know that like there is other music out there that is popular and isn't just English.
In my childhood, when I came here, no one knew what Korea was. Some people just tell me, is it a town in China or something? There was one like that. But I see like the progression of how Korea is being known. Like first it was that like no one knows about it. Then it was like, oh, Samsung, LG, yeah, the phones, yeah, Koreans, right? And then to that football player, you know, Park Ji-sung from Manchester United. Like all the guys were like, yeah, that Korean player from Manchester United. Yeah, that's cool. And then after that, I'd be like, oh yeah, 2012 Gangnam Style, yeah.
People did not really know what K-pop was except from that Gangnam Style, and that they to this day, if I speak to like my local friends, let's say, they still won't acknowledge Gangnam Style as K-pop, which I think is really weird. But
everyone forgot when Psy brought out Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
Like everybody knew that song. Like when I was younger, everyone danced that song. Nobody understood it then, but then all of a sudden, if you turn around to them and say, "Oh, Gangnam Style," they're like, "Oh, nah, that's not K-pop." And I'm like, "It is."
I think when I saw Gangnam Style come out, it kind of was an opening for people to know what K-pop was. So after when I kind of delved into it, I kind of was like, "Hey, I'm into K-pop, yeah!" I kind of, maybe still subconsciously, I still think, oh, should I say this? Because people will judge. Like, there's a lot of opinions on K-pop that, oh, it's one way, but there's so many categories in it.
What sort of like things about Korean culture have you learned from K-pop?
I've learned a lot about the language and the different learning about the language, all about the different hierarchical structures and how you've got to treat certain people in society. Whereas you can walk around in the UK and call anybody you're right, but you can't do that in Korea. And I've learned that there's certain rules that have gone back years and years, and then that then led me to research history and cultural dresses like the hanbok and stuff, and that side of it was something that I hadn't previously known. And then people like Korean Englishmen. Yeah. We got into Korean Englishmen and people like that who create Dave. Yeah, Dave, World of Dave as well. Create Korean based content that goes deeper into culture and different drinking cultures and food cultures, and I think that's something that I wouldn't have previously known about.
Yeah, so K-pop sort of led us into
wider
Korean culture. Yeah.
Do you think that most K-pop fans know lots about Korean culture?
I think that's a hard one, because I think people categorize them as two separate things. Say for example, there'll be some fans saying, "Oh, I'm not there for the culture, I'm only there for the music." But there's some people that actually really want to educate themselves into the culture. But I think as K-pop is growing nowadays, especially from the activities that the K-pop idols do, they are kind of, they're introducing fans into the Korean culture. So I think a lot of fans do know about K-culture because it's been introduced by the stars themselves. And they are showing this is my culture, you're welcome, come see everything. So yeah, I think definitely a lot of K-pop fans know, whether they do know or subconsciously they know. But yeah, I think so.
I have a bit of an obsessive sort of personality, that's the word. So once I latch on to something, I have to know everything about it. So I will learn everybody's names and where they're from, and then why did they speak like that? Oh, that's dialect, that's cool, what's that? So yeah, I have to sort of learn everything. It did me well in my exams, but yeah, it's...
And I think I also think though it's something where you'll be looking for a K-pop group, and then you go, oh, this YouTube channel's done an interview with them, and then you'll find a YouTube channel, and then you'll automatically go, what else did they put on? And then I think the nature of it leads to other things that you then don't realise. You haven't gone out to look for it, but it's just popped up.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait, 1 second. Again? Sorry. Growing up with I guess people who wanted to follow, I would say, people who wanted to follow a crowd and didn't really find something that they liked. I guess it's people I wouldn't say all popular kids, but people who want to be popular, if that makes sense. So I think when K-pop came along, it was kind of I could find myself, and it sounds weird, but K-pop really it doesn't allow you to want to fit a persona. No, what? Yeah, doesn't want you to fit a persona. It kind of just allows you to express yourself and own yourself.
I think when you're into things that aren't mainstream, even though it's kind of becoming mainstream now, I think when you aren't into something that's mainstream, you do become like more accepting of other people and kind of more open-minded. So I think it's definitely made me more open-minded. I think it's also on the flip side made me very critical of myself. So yeah, I've always been a perfectionist even before I got into K-pop. When I was at a more vulnerable time, you know, at uni, when I hadn't fully become my own woman yet, you know, it led me, you know, look at the Korean body type and think, oh my goodness, I am so fat. And yeah, ended up having, you know, quite a bad eating disorder. I read an article somewhere that SNSD have a 5-2-3 ratio on their legs, so 50, 20, and then down on the ankles 20, and then on the calves 30. And I would be obsessed with being in that ratio, you know. And I would say, you know, I'm still not fully accepting of myself. Like that, I think I will always, so long as I like K-pop, always think you could be skinnier, you could be prettier, you know. I think K-pop's made me notice things about myself that had I not liked it, maybe I wouldn't think about so much. So, you know, my nose, for example, looks fine from the side, but I actually have a Roman nose, so I've got a little bump here. And, you know, the amount of times I've thought, oh, do I need to get plastic surgery for that? You know, and everyone's like, no, we don't even notice it. But because, like, the Korean beauty standards are just so high, aren't they? Like, it just makes you think, oh, maybe I need to. It was only yesterday that I was watching a video by Gracie Grace. Do you know her? She was she's a Korean ex-trainee. She was on Pretty Rap Star, and she now has a YouTube channel, and she's kind of independent, making her own songs and things. Well, she had uneven jaw, and she started to talk about all these things you can do to, you know, change the shape of your jaw. And then looking in the mirrors, suddenly I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so unsymmetrical. And you start to look so distorted in your mind because you're putting in all these expectations when other people look at you and don't think that at all. So I think that in some respects, like, K-pop has changed me as a person, and, you know, changed kind of the way people see each other, and has made like a lovely loving community. But I do think whilst there's a dark side to Korean entertainment industry, there's also a dark side to being a K-pop fan as well.
There's a lot of pressure and like high beauty standards and everything, which I don't really support. So I'm really happy that we slowly have a bigger variety of beauty standards. It gets better. So yeah, and I think that's the right direction K-pop has to go to, because else it's just, sometimes I'm like, do I want to support standards like that? Is it worth it? Is it like, are the idols happy with it? Are they? I'm like, not too sure. So yeah, there are two faces. So I'm like, like I said, hard question.
I remember my friend just came home from a party and she texted me saying, oh, I was talking to this guy about you. I showed him your picture, and then he said, oh yeah, she's pretty or something. And then she said, oh yes, Tasha, she goes to the same school as me. And he was like, wait, Tasha, like the one that likes K-pop? Nah, never mind. And like hearing that, it actually just made me so upset, because that wasn't the first time someone had said something to me, like even just poking fun, but it was kind of the last straw, because I didn't find it funny anymore just when that's the first thing people say to me.
So why do you think
some people hate K-pop? Because there are some people who say some negative things about it.
As a previous One Direction fan, I am very used to people basically saying that you only like them because of the way they look, and it's very manufactured and there's no feeling behind it. And I think it's just very easy, especially because it's a thing liked by girls.
Yeah.
Mainly, it's a very misogynistic view of like society going, well, they're young girls, they don't understand music.
They just see girls screaming, I guess.
Yes.
And I think people like to hate something. So because of like the rise in popularity of like BTS and Blackpink, people see it and go, this is a thing that I don't know, but it's mainly got girls and young people who like it, and it's something that I can immediately go, that thing's bad. So I think people just like to hate stuff, and it's the new flavour of the month to hate.
I mean, for K-pop, it's the fact that for some reason everyone thinks that we like it because of the looks, which I can understand, but there's more to it than that.
I think because nowadays people want to be, I guess, accepted into society, and I think with K-pop, people are kind of, because there's so many opinions on it, people are too scared to be the outcast, to be like, I guess, isolated, because there's a lot of people that are into American music and they're like, oh, American music is the best one, you should be listening to American music, or British music, you should be listening to British music, grime. But when it comes to K-pop, I guess, especially like, I guess, if we're gonna talk masculine aspects as well, it's kind of like feminized, if that makes sense. So I think it's just people are very scared of opinions, and it might demasculate them in a way, or it might kind of outcast them to be isolated and alone, and they'll be like, oh, I'm the only one here. So I guess that's what makes people not get into K-pop, and they're scared to be different from the crowd.
Before I began even looking at this topic in depth or asking people whether they would like to help me by being interviewed for this documentary, I created a survey. This survey was available to anyone on the internet who had the link. This was anonymous, which was vital because it would allow more people to speak more openly about their views and what to think about K-pop and culture. I decided not to touch any of the answers until after I had finished all my interviews and began to put all the footage together. It was a pivotal moment in my findings because I only surrounded myself with people who had positive perspectives on K-pop and culture. This survey, however, included oppositional perspectives as well as preferred on K-pop and culture.
Do you feel more culturally aware compared to the older generation? For example, your parents?
100%. Like, even like, just straight up, definitely. Even talking to them about stuff, it's like, yeah.
I'm more culturally aware than my mum and dad, but I would say my granddad was probably more culturally aware of Korea because he did his military service in Korea, which we didn't know about until fairly recently. So yeah,
I think we know a lot more about like pop culture and like the newer aspects of Korean culture, but the actual like historical stuff, like Korean War and stuff like that, I think
Unless
like,
you do it in history.
Yeah, I think our grandparents' generation probably would have been more
up to date,
aware of it because it was happening. Whereas we're more aware of what's happening now because we're like involved in it. So I think it really depends. I think
we're more culturally aware than my mum and dad.
Yeah, but I think it's to do with what you're into though.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more stuff for us to be
that allows us to see.
Yeah,
what it's
yeah,
like.
because of like the internet and stuff. There's an immediate link.
And
you could be like, let's go see what's going on now. Whereas into like when our parents were growing up in the 80s, there wasn't that like direct link. You'd have to like go
Watch
to
the
a
news.
library or watch the news. So it wasn't that immediate. So I think in that respect, yes.
But roundabout way.
Yeah.
What do you think about K-pop dance cover groups and when they perform in public?
I think that's really cool, to be honest, because it's giving, I'm going to say young people, but it's normally younger fans, like 20s, late teens that do it. It gives them something to do. It gives you like a group of people who you can go and see, talk to, learn choreography together, and then you can have fun together. You know, it gets people out of the house, gets people doing something. So I think it's really cool that they have those groups. I wish I was in one.
So at NCT there was a group that were doing specific K-pop dances, and then they just had like a random play thing, and honest to God there were hundreds of people just joining in this thing, and like I can't do it. I've tried. I look awful trying to do it. So anyone who can do it, big respect. It looks great. I'm all for it.
We tried in our kitchen at the start of quarantine. It
Didn't
really
go well.
didn't work.
Just didn't go well.
It wasn't good. It ended in tears.
I'm not twice. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
When dancing in public, I've been dancing in public for about 2 years, I think. It's so nerve-wracking. Reactions tend to be quite good. People will just stop and stare. Some people will come up to you and say, I really liked your dancing and you did really well. Some other people might not appreciate it, but take the good things at least.
Some people actually recognize the songs and they're like, oh yeah, I know that song, and then we're like, oh yeah, good. Oh, so it just makes us realize that K-pop is so big now that everyone knows about it, and it is really nice to see people getting involved with us. But yeah, it's been only positive reactions.
I remember, like with Senyu, I remember trying to do some flips and stuff, just to speak about it, like for the future, and yeah. And I remember a person came up to us and he was like asking our Instagram and stuff.
Usually really happy to see you supporting their group and just to spread K-pop.
I think the thing that I achieve most, which I will always hold by me for as long as I dance and for days to come as well in the future, that it's really broadened my connections. And the thing that I appreciate the most and that I've achieved the most is being able to make friends in the K-pop community. Just from liking K-pop, and these are people that I hope that I can see to carry with me for a long time in my life, and that's something that I feel like I've achieved. And it definitely overdoes all of the small accomplishments like, I won this competition and so on and so forth. But I think the biggest one is the people that I've learned to meet, and the people who are around me are the things that I achieved the most.
I have achieved 2 things. I mean, 1 thing. I know, 2 things. First thing is competition. Winning a competition. Cause for my experience, I'm a bit competitive, so winning is really like a motivation for me. Like, I really want to win. Yeah, I know it's like a bit of a toxic mindset, but in competition, you have to have that mindset. So yeah, then the second thing is gaining friends, because in the K-pop community, there's a lot. So even though they don't dance, I got to know people who also likes K-pop. So I think that's the one that I have achieved from liking K-pop, gaining friends and doing competitions, winning competitions, I mean.
Aside from making friends in the K-pop community, being able to be in a cover dance group, like in my old one, I was able to like do things I never thought I could. Like I had no confidence back in the day, very little. I was very self-conscious. I was very anxious. I couldn't do things on my own. I was just like a lot of stuff just holding me back mentally. But I think being able to put myself out there and being able to like perform on stage, and just get to know a lot of other people who are in the same boat as you, it definitely helps you feel less lonely, and like it really pushes you to become a better person as well as like grow as a dancer as well. So yeah, a lot of things has come from liking K-pop.
Yeah, for me, I think because I say most of my comfortability with friends are people in that K-pop circle or knows a bit about it. Because I grew up with K-pop. So yeah, and I guess like even dancing in public, because that's the first, because I never danced in public before with K-pop. Yeah, I think what I've achieved with K-pop, making good friends, finding her.
A family, most importantly. I definitely think, like, I'm going to say with ARMY, just because I've been with them for like 5 years now, like, it's easiest for me to talk about. Definitely found a family in them, like, all my closest friends, except for maybe 2 now, are ARMYs, like, people I call my best friends, you know, people that I love so much. They've really helped me find, like, a sense of belonging. Also, I learned a lot, like, not just about K-pop from the K-pop fandom, but about life in general. When you, like, I don't know how to explain it. Stuff to do with, like, the LGBTQ plus community. Learned so much about them just from the K-pop fandom, because we are such a diverse group of people. I mean, if I wasn't on Twitter because of BTS, I probably wouldn't know about half the things going on in the world. So, like, people here, like, I know we seem crazy, but they do charity. If something's going on in the world, they want to educate you on it. You know, they want to make sure that everyone feels included. So if anyone is like ableist, homophobic, transphobic, anything like that, they will call you out and say, no, this is wrong, and tell you why it's wrong. And they try to educate you. So I just think it makes you a better, like, it sounds weird, but it kind of makes you a better person. Like, you know more about the world, and a lot of things that my everyday friends are like, what? Did not know about that.
I see some people actually hating some songs or some like idols and stuff inside the K-pop, because they start bringing different cultures inside their music, like visually. And I think this is not something to be like hating of. Like, you can't just be like a hater because someone like put your culture inside their videos or something. For me, it's like something positive, because they help like spreading the culture like all around the world, like every culture, not only K-pop's like Korean culture. But yeah, it's not something like bad for me personally. So I believe that even for me, if I see like some concepts in K-pop that put like letters or something from Greece, and I'm kind of proud because people start like knowing our like country and our culture. So it's something that I'm proud of. So I don't know why people like start hating it, but yeah.
I really liked Idol, to be honest. There's quite a lot of culture in it. They actually also added in a bit of African culture in there too, which is really cool to see. So I was like, oh, it's a mixture between my culture and BTS's culture. The prints, I'm so sorry if someone's watching this and like, no, but it is. But so the prints on their suits that they were wearing, like the colourful suits, were actually inspired by African prints. I don't know the exact ones, I'm not that educated on it. And they also, there's this move they did. Do you know when they go... move they did? Yeah, I believe, okay, I'm going to say it so wrong. It's called the Guarda Guarda, which is an African dance move. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. But yeah.
This is going to be kind of controversial, but I don't really know my stance on cultural appropriation versus appreciation, because I used to be so like anti-appropriation, like stick to your own culture, like I will come for you. Like I was really like quite aggressive about it too. But now I've kind of realised that some things, like, where does the scale end? Because arguably a lot of people nowadays, when they're wearing their traditional cultural dress, a lot of it's for fashion, but that's only quite recently. Obviously, if you go back maybe 100 years, like certain cultures were still doing things for certain reasons. For example, like braids had a certain what's the word, like a, I can't think of the word. Yeah, use, yeah. But now a lot of the time, like, it's still used for protective hairstyles, but like a main reason that I do it is for fashion, because like when I could just easily wear my hair in a head wrap. Like I don't need to have braids like just to protect my hair. So arguably you could say that's for a fashion choice rather than a practical choice. It depends on who you're asking. But like I read an article about how Korean people are kind of, they don't really understand where Americans are coming from when they say like that's cultural appropriation, because there's this thing now where, you know, oh, what's it called? Oh, I can't think of the hanbok. The hanbok, yeah, the traditional Korean wear. Girls are now wearing like mini skirts with a crop top version for fashion, and all the young people are like, yeah, this is such a great idea, but all the old people are like, that is a disgrace, it's supposed to be modest, so what are you doing? Yeah. So for me, I'm like, where does it end? Like, where does cultural appreciation become appropriation? And like, why can't we share cultures to an extent, obviously? Because like, I don't know, I've heard some people say that cultural appropriation includes food, which is so dumb in my opinion. But yeah, so I don't really know where it ends, because eventually I think that all cultures are just going to be mixed.
Like with culture, it's always been mixed, really and truly. Everybody mixes their culture. Like, say for example, if you're saying that cultural appropriation comes to food as well, like, we don't cook our traditional foods every day. We sometimes have it, like, everybody sometimes makes Italian, you can make Korean, you can make Japanese, like, you can make anything at home.
Obviously I think that there is some sort of cultural appropriation, but I feel like a lot of the time when I have a reaction to something, it's not that I have a scale where it's like, for cultural appropriation to exist, it has to be these 4 bullet points. Like, it's just, I see something and I think that's kind of wrong, and that feels like is someone mocking someone else. Whereas sometimes there's stuff that I see is so beautiful, like when foreigners go to Korea and like take pictures in the hanbok, when people go to Japan and take pictures in the kimono, I don't really see like a huge issue with that, because I feel like that's appreciating the culture. But then when does it become an issue? Because I remember there was this very controversial photo, I can't remember the exact model that did the photo shoot, but she was wearing a kimono and like the geisha makeup, and a lot of Americans were like, oh, this is disgusting, cultural appropriation. But most of the Japanese comments were, oh, I love this, I love that they're taking Japanese culture and like making it so pretty and artistic for a magazine. So I feel like a lot of the like cultural appropriation views come from America. So can you really take that if you haven't even asked the people whose culture is what they think?
You've now got, you know, even in restaurants, you know, kimchi slaw in burgers, like Asian style burgers. Korean food has become more mainstream, and you know, you can buy, I just bought kimchi in the shop today, and you know, 10 years ago I just don't think that anybody would even think to use that as an ingredient in their cooking as an English person, you know. So I think it has made people more culturally aware, you know. Korean culture's kind of being included like as like an entire kind of world kind of culture, not just kind of like as a, oh, it's that like thing, isn't it? It's nice that people are regarding it like that. But I do think that there's a danger in that you get some people who perhaps take it a little too far, in that they try to be Korean, or they try to emulate K-pop, or they try to emulate being Korean. You know, people get plastic surgery to look like K-pop idols. People like broadcast themselves as, you know, this group and that group, and I think there does become, there's a fine line, I think, between things becoming more well known in terms of culture, and then things becoming, people are so interested and so obsessed with it that it actually ends up borderlining on racism, which is perhaps a little controversial for me to say, because I make English covers and I'm inspired, but I will never turn around and say I am a K-pop idol, you know, or I am part Korean, even though I'm clearly not. You know, I think there's an emerging culture of that, which I think people call it cultural appropriation. I'd like to think that as we progress and as K-pop and the Hallyu wave becomes more popular, that this side, the extremes, will kind of die out, and we have what is just a really lovely kind of, let's celebrate Korean culture, let's celebrate every culture, you know, and our own. Let's not forget about our own.
Me starting to like obviously love the Korean food, I tried to introduce it to my parents. They were a bit apprehensive at first, but then my mom started loving it, and now from time to time she just buys like Korean I don't know, ingredients they use. She just makes it with like Romanian food. It's quite funny. Anyway, just a side note. One particular thing I like is that whenever I go to a concert, like a K-pop obviously concert, it's just so easy to make friends. It's just so easy to, you don't have that barrier no more, like when you meet someone new and then you're like, okay, what should I talk about it, or what should I say? Or in the past I used to be very scared to go to concerts alone, because I'd be like, well, I'll be alone there, I wouldn't have anyone to talk to. But now whenever I go to any K-pop concert, I'm just so excited, because I always go alone, because sometimes my friends, they're not available that day, but I go alone and I'm excited about it because I know I'm gonna make lots of friends. So lots of my current friends, I met them through K-pop concerts, because we just go there and we'll just be like waiting in queue, and then whoever's in front of me or like behind me, we just start talking about it. Oh yeah, I like you. Of course I like you, because that's what I'm here. Oh, who's your bias? Oh, you've been to other concerts, and so on. It's so easy to make connections. It's so easy to make friends, and I love that about it. I remember last year when I went to BTS's concert in Wembley, the first day, again I went with my friends actually, but we had like separate seats. So I sat next to a girl from Spain and a girl from Norway, and then obviously got to the emotional point, I don't know if you know about it, like in BTS's concert, where we sang Forever Young and everyone started crying. I started crying obviously, and then like I didn't talk to the girl. I mean, yeah, we were talking with the girl from Spain and then one from Norway, but then we just started hugging. Everyone started hugging in the audience. We're like, it just felt that we had such a big connection in that moment, and we were complete strangers, but in that moment it's just all of us were united. It was just beautiful. It's beautiful what the music can do for people. It just makes it so easy for us to make new friends and to feel that you're not alone, and to have people understand you. It's just beautiful. It's such a pathway. I don't know. I'm getting a bit emotional thinking about that day. It was really nice. A day I'll never forget. I actually got a tattoo with BTS, with what is it, the balloon they have on Forever Young album. It was just beautiful. I'll never forget. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps.
if you have anything at all that you want to tell the audience watching this, please feel free to do that now.
Well, I would say, you know what? Love what you want to love. Don't be afraid to get into any music, anything. Or even if you have a dream in your life that you kind of are unsure whether to get into it, don't be afraid to go for it, because to be honest, you only have one life in this body. So kind of go for your dreams. Be responsible. Be responsible, but go for your dreams and don't idolize anybody else, and look after yourself really well. And I think that's it, yeah.
Just because something isn't your culture doesn't mean it's not good and worth being exposed to. Yeah. We wouldn't have had half the experiences that we've had if it wasn't for K-pop. And we wouldn't have done half the stuff that we have if it wasn't for K-pop.
Our channel wouldn't exist initially if it wasn't for K-pop. Even though our first couple of videos aren't about K-pop, that's where that came from.
So I think it's very easy to just be like, this is a strange thing that has nothing to do with me, without actually looking at it. But if you get past the fact that it's not in your language, then it can open up a whole other world of so much more.
It can give you great TV shows to watch as well, honestly. You get hooked.
So yeah, it's a big part of our lives that wouldn't have really been a part of our lives if we wouldn't have taken that initial step.
And I mean, it's given us something as well to like properly have in common, because we are very different people, but we really like K-pop.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's given me someone to go to concerts with again, so I'm very pleased about that.
So yeah.
If you are a K-pop fan or an anime fan, and you are sitting there and thinking, why am I into this? I can't say it. I shouldn't be open about what I like. I need to hide this from my parents. I need to hide this from my friends. Then you don't have to. Like, I think we're in a world where people are very accepting of other people's differences. On the whole, people are very accepting of each other. And I think that if someone's truly your friend, or someone truly cares about you, they're going to have the opposite reaction, and they're going to think that this is the brilliant discovery about you, about their friend.
It's okay not to like it. It's okay to like disagree with it, but do it in a respectful way, because these are people who are living human beings, and they're no different from anyone else. We're all humans. Like, you have to be open-minded and stop treating things as objects.
That could be the name of your album.
Put that on paper right now.
Taking notes.
I'm just thinking about, sorry, I'm not laughing at any of you guys. I was just thinking about, like, my kids are gonna grow up like bopping to BTS.
That mom, this is fun.
With the little army bombs and everything.
Oh,
mommy, look.
That'll be their rattle.
Wow. Oh yeah, that's such a good idea.
Could actually do that, because it has little, beads inside, so they can go.
Business idea, guys, business.
Do you think in 20 years time, like, K-pop groups will start selling bibs? Like baby bibs, like with their logos on it.
Baby bottles.
That's why I was just laughing, because I zoned out for a second just thinking about like little kids bopping to BTS.
Oh no.
Oh my dude. That would be the best time.
Oh, this is fine. That's really I can't wait.
Okay, I finished the black recordings. That was cringy, wasn't it?